Assalamu alaikum friends, welcome to the basics of Python course by Urdu IT Academy. So let's begin the lesson 2. So in the last class, we learned how we can print something in Python and how we can receive the user input. Okay, and let's quickly look on the assignments. I gave you two assignments. So the first problem was to create a program to find the area and perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, so to find the area and perimeter, first we should know the equation, right? So the equation to find the area is length times width. Okay. So if you want to find the area, you should know what is length and what is width. Okay. So that's why first thing you have to ask the user to enter the length. Okay. That's what we are doing in the line number 1. We are printing type the length so that the user can type the length. Okay. So length is equal to int input. Whatever number the user has entered, we are storing it inside the variable length. Okay, same way we are asking the user to enter the width. Width is equal to int input so that the user can type the width. Okay, so below that you can find the area. So the equation to find the area is length times width. That's what we are doing here. Area is equal to length multiplied by width. Okay, so the computer will be multiplying this length and width. Okay, and the answer will be stored inside the variable area. Clear? Same way in the next line, we have to find the perimeter. So the equation to find the perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times length plus 2 times width. Okay. So you must have learned it from your school, right? So we just want to apply the equation. We already know what is length, what is width. This has already entered the values. So we can directly multiply them. 2 times length plus 2 times width. Computer will be finding the answer of 2 times length plus 2 times width. And the answer will be stored inside the variable perimeter. Okay. So in the next line, we are printing area of the rectangle is area and perimeter of the rectangle is perimeter. Okay. So here the output will look like this. So first we are printing type the length. You can see here. So the user has written the length 5, right? So the 5 will be stored inside the variable length. Now we are printing type the width. So it has printed here. So the user has entered the value 4. So the value 4 is stored inside the variable width. Now after that, computer is finding the length multiplied by width, which means area will be length is 5 and width is 4 here. So the area will be 5 multiplied by 4. Okay, which will be 20. 20 will be stored inside the variable area. Same way, perimeter is equal to 2 times length plus 2 times width, which means 2 times length is 5 here plus 2 times width is 4, which will be 18. So the value 18 will be stored inside the variable perimeter. Okay. So after that, we are printing area of the rectangle is. You can see it's inside the double quote. That's why it is printing just like that. Area of the rectangle is. Now here, there is a comma, right? Because whatever we are adding inside the double quote, as I told you in the last class, it's a string. Okay. And here, the area is a variable. So between a string and a variable, you'll have to put a comma. Okay. Now after the comma, we are specifying area. Area means here it will print the value inside the area. So inside the area, we have the value 5 times 4, which is 20, right? So that 20 is printed here. Area of the rectangle is 20. Same way we are printing the perimeter. Perimeter of the rectangle is printed here. Perimeter means value inside the perimeter, which is 2 times length plus 2 times width, 18. Clear? This was our first homework. Okay. So all this code, now Python code, you can find it in the Urdu IT Academy GitHub page. Okay. Yeah. So the next problem is to create a program to find the percentage of marks received in an exam. Okay. So if you want to find the percentage of marks received in an exam, first thing you should know how to find the percentage. Okay. So the equation to find the percentage is part by whole into 100. Okay, that's the equation to find the percentage. That's a math thing, okay? So here we have to find the, percentage of marks. So here we have to ask the user to enter the mark he received in the exam. Also, we should know the total mark, which means some exam, the total, it will be out of 100. Some exam, it will be out of 50, some may be out of 25 or 10. We should know the mark and the total. That's why we are asking the user to enter the mark received in an exam. We are receiving it in a variable mark. We are asking the user to enter the total mark, and we are receiving it in a variable total. Okay, remember both are int input because they are numbers. Okay. Now in the next slide, we are applying the equation percentage is equal to mark by total into 100. So here you can see I have added brackets here, right? Because why we have to do is that first the computer has to divide mark by total. Okay. Then only mark by total, the answer should be multiplied by 100. That's how it works. Okay. So, the percentage will be stored inside the variable. The answer will be stored inside the variable percentage. In the next line, we are printing you got percentage, and we are just putting the symbol so that it will be more clear to the viewers. You can see the output. First, I'm asking the user to enter the mark received in the exam. So they are typing 45. So 45 is stored inside the variable mark. Okay. Now I'm asking the user to enter the total mark. They have written 50. So the 50 will be stored inside the variable total. Okay. Then the next line, we are finding the percentage. Percentage is equal to mark by total into 100, which will be 45 divided by total is 50 multiplied by 100. Okay. So the answer is stored inside the variable percentage, which will be 90.0. So here you can see the answer is 90.0. It's because now the division operator will give you a decimal value as output. Okay, that's why. So the next line we are printing you got. It's a string, so we have to add inside the quotes. That's why first here it is printing you got. After that the variable percentage. Inside that we have stored our answer, right? So it's 90.0, and we are just putting the percentage symbol inside the double quotes. So it is also printed. Clear? All right. So let's begin today's session. So let's learn about comments in Python. What are these comments and why are we using comments in our Python code? Okay. So in Python, a comment is a programmer readable explanation or annotation in the source code. Okay. Which means comments are annotations in the code that are not executed by the Python interpreter. Okay, which means whenever we are creating a program, in between our programming lines, all the lines are line by line executed by the Python interpreter, right? So in between that, you can leave some notes like I have written this line for this purpose, or this equation we are using to do this calculation. In between, you can write some notes. Okay, if you want. Okay, if you want, you can add some notes in between as a comment. Okay, so they are meant for programmers to leave the notes, explanation, or any other helpful information within a Python code. Okay, so always remember, these comments are ignored by the Python interpreter when the code will run. Okay, which means these comments, whatever comments we are adding, it's for us. Okay, it's for us, the programmers, for us, the humans to read, and not for the computer to execute. That's why whenever you're running your Python program, there will be no symbol, there will be no presence of the comment in the output. Okay, so we can add comments. There are mainly two types of comments we can add: single line comment and the multi-line comment. Okay, single line comment means the whole line. Okay, only one single line you can make as a comment. So here you have to use a hash mark. Hash mark, just put a space. After that, whatever you're writing, the entire line the computer will ignore because it's a comment. Whatever you will write in that particular line after the hash mark, computer will ignore that entire line. Okay. Now the second type of comment is a multi-line comment where we can make more than one line as a comment. Okay. So in this case, you have to use the triple quotes. Either you can use three single quotes or three double quotes. Okay. In between three single quote uh, and double quote, whatever you're writing, it will be treated as a comment. It won't execute that much lines. Okay. So now since these comments do not get executed, when you run your code, there won't be any indication of the comments in the output. Okay. Now, actually, why we need the comments? What is the purpose of adding the comment? So the primary purpose of comments is to improve the readability and maintainability of your Python code. Okay. So these comments now they serve as a documentation for your particular, Python code, which will be explaining what certain parts of the code is doing, or which can be mainly useful for other programmers. For example, whenever you're creating a big software, okay, so more than one people will be working on the particular code. So what happens is that when multiple people are working on the same code base, come and help others to understand what the code is doing without needing to decipher it from scratch. Okay, so it is these comments now it's also beneficial for your future self. For example, after so many days, or maybe after a few months, whenever you are coming back, you're opening your Python code. Okay, so comments will help you quickly recall your thought process and functionality of the functionality of different parts of your code. All right, and these comments now they will make your Python code easier to read and understand. By providing context and explanation in between your code. All right, yeah, that's it. Now, before that, let's have a look on the some examples of comments. Okay, how we can add comments in a Python code. So I have opened a Python using the Replit. I'm using the Replit platform. So this is just a sample code, okay? Just a sample code where I'm asking the user to enter a number. I'm receiving the first number inside the variable N1. I'm asking the user to type another number. I'm receiving the answer inside the variable N2. Now after that, I'm finding the sum and sum equal N1 plus N2 and I'm printing the sum. Okay, now let's see how we can add some comments in this particular program. Okay, maybe on the top in the line number 1, I'm going to add a comment. So first thing you need to put a hashtag. Okay, you can add a space also. After that, whatever notes or comment you want, you can type. It's optional, okay? Only if you want, you can add. But it's very beneficial. So I'm going to type a comment. Program to maybe find the sum of two numbers. Okay, so that after so many days, whenever I'm coming back to check my code, just by reading this line program to find the sum of two numbers, I can easily understand that this program I have created to find the sum of two numbers. Okay, only for that purpose. So this entire line number 1 is a comment. Computer will not execute this line. Okay, whenever the computer is executing, whenever it is seeing this hashtag, it will immediately go back to the line number 2, because it know that computer has no work to do with the comments. It's only for the programmers, not for the computer to execute. Okay, in between here also, maybe I can add after the line sum equal to n1 and plus n2, I'm just adding a comment finding sum of two numbers. So what happens is that here sum equal to n1 plus n2, which is not a comment. After that, the remaining line, I have just, it's because of I have added a hashtag. The remaining line is a comment now. Okay. Now this is about the single line comment. Now let's see how we can add the multi-line comments. Okay. So if you want to add a multi-line comment, just an example, okay, you have to add 3 single quotes or double quote in between whatever you are typing. Right? Yes. Maybe is a comment. See? So this line, hi, this is a comment, is now a comment. This line will not executed by the computer. Okay. We can see this, there is no indication of the line number 1, right? It's directly going to line number 2 and printing entry number. I'm typing 4. Going to the line number 4, printing, type another number. I'm going to type maybe again 4, let it be. It's printing sum is 8. See? So there is no indication of the comment, okay, will be present in the output. Clear? There are 2 types of comment, single line comment. We are using a hashtag and the remaining line will be treated as a comment. Here also you can add. Now, if you want to add multiple lines as a command, you can add those lines inside 3 single quotes or inside 3 double quotes. Clear? All right. Now, let's continue. Now, let's see variables in Python. What are these variables, or why we are using the variables? Okay. So, a variable is a name storage location in a computer's memory to store data value which can be changed and used throughout a program. Okay, which means in the last example, in the example which I just now showed you, there are two variables num1 and num2. Sorry, n1 and n2. Okay, so we are using this variable to store some data. Okay, so whenever you are creating a variable, suppose whenever you are writing something like num1, maybe for example, oh wait, erase it. Suppose I'm typing num1 equal to int input, enter a number. Okay, so whenever I'm writing a line like this, computer will be immediately creating a small memory space inside the computer. Inside the computer memory storage, computer will store a memory space, allocate a memory space, and its name will be num1. Okay, suppose imagine the user is typing the answer 5 as an input. So the value 5 will be stored inside the variable num1. Clear? So a variable is a name storage location in the computer memories to store data value, which can be changed and used throughout a program. Okay. So a variable can hold different types of data types. Different types of data, such as it can hold a number, it can hold strings, or even more complex structures. Okay. And for the variables, now I can give you one more example. Imagine a shoe rack. Imagine a shoe rack in your home. Okay, so we are using a shoe rack to keep our sandal shoes in front of our house, right? Suppose at a time it can have one shoe. Maybe after some times in a shoe rack there will be three shoes. After some times maybe there will be like two shoes. So the shoe rack, the name is same. Name is always shoe rack, but the value inside can vary, right? Sometimes it will be one, sometimes it will be two, sometimes it will be three. So value inside a variable we can change whenever we want, but variable name is same. Okay. So we can manipulate and use this data within our program, which means whenever we are writing number equal to 5, that value 5 we can use in our code, right? For the multiplication, division, or for any other purpose, we can use it. Okay. Now, whenever we are creating a variable, always remember we have to follow something called as variable naming rules. It's very mandatory. So there are some new rules. It's very simple. The first rule, rule number 1 is that a variable name should start with a letter or with an underscore. Okay, we have to always start a variable name with a letter or an underscore. For example, you can create a variable as num1. That's okay because it's starting from num n, right? Num1. But you can never start a variable name with one num with a number. Okay, and variable name can never start with a number, which means num1 is okay, it's allowed, but one num is not allowed. Okay. Also, variable name can only contain alphanumeric character and an underscore, which means you can use either A to Z, capital or small letter. Also, you can in between the variables, not at the beginning, but in between or at the end, you can have the numbers and only one symbol allowed, which is a underscore. Okay. And the last and most important part, variable names are case sensitive, which means capital letter and small letter both are different. If you are writing num1 in small letter and if you are printing num1 in capital letter, it will give an error. Clear? Okay, let's have a look on some examples. Okay, let's try to create some variables. Maybe I'm going to create a variable num1. Okay, maybe num1 equal to 5. This one is okay. It's a valid variable name. It's starting with a number. Same way I can create, n is equal to 7, which is also okay. Maybe I can create num, sorry, number equal to 10. This is also okay. Here you can see, here also I have a number in the line number 5, sorry, line number 1. Maybe I'm erasing this line, okay, for the time being. Here I have another variable number, capital letter. Remember, both are different, which means whenever I'm printing it, suppose I'm printing num1 is, comma, number. Okay, so here it will be printing the value inside the number, which is 5. Okay, in the next line, I'm going to print num1, capital letter num1 is, comma, capital letter number. Okay. So whenever the computer is executing this line, computer will be creating two memory spaces to store these values. In the computer memory, there will be two memory spaces allocated. One for the number, this one, and second one for the capital letter number. Okay. And the values will be, number will be 5 and the capital letter number will be 10. Okay. So whenever we are running the code, we can see number is 5 because number is a string. That's why it is printing number is. Now after this comma, we are adding the variable number. There is no double quotes, which means a variable. So it will print the value inside the number, which is 5. Okay. Same way here we are printing number is capital letter number. We are printing capital letter number, the value inside the number, which is 10. Clear? So always remember, Python is a case sensitive language, which means capital letter and small letter both are different. Okay. Same way, suppose I'm going to create another variable, length equal to 20. Okay. Now imagine I'm going to print length is, instead of typing small letter length, imagine I'm typing capital letter L. Okay. We can see there is a red line coming below, which means there is something wrong. Some error is there. Okay. So whenever I'm running it, you can see it's making an error. And the error is name error. Name length is not defined. Here L is capital. And they are also asking, did you mean small letter length? Okay. So always remember, whenever you're making a spelling mistake or, whenever you're making mistakes like adding capital letter or small letter. Okay. So the error will be name error. Clear? So that's about the name error. So now suppose I'm creating a variable 1 num. Okay, 1 num equal to maybe 44. Okay, you can see whenever I'm running the code, it will give me an error, syntax error. See the error message? Here it is syntax error, invalid decimal literal, which means there is something wrong with the program syntax itself. Remember, we can never start a variable name with a number, which means one num is not allowed. Okay, but we can add something like num1 is okay, or we can add num_1 because underscore is allowed. Okay, or we can type _1 num. Let's see, equal to 3. This is also, let's try to print it. Sorry, not v3, only 3. This is also allowed because we can start a variable with an underscore. Clear? So always remember, there are few things whenever you have to remember whenever you are creating a variable. It should start with a letter or it should start with an underscore. Okay, and it should never start with a number. All right. Also, capital letter and small letter both are different. Python is a case sensitive language. Okay. Now here you can see I have given values only numbers, right? Not like that. You can directly type string values also. For example, I'm creating a variable, maybe stud1. Stud1 is equal to, you can give any name. Maybe I'm going to give a name Leo. Okay. Same way I'm creating another variable stud2 equal to, you can give any name. Maybe I'm giving a name Ali. So these are the valid variable names, stud1 and stud2. And the name Leo and Ali, always remember you need to use a quote, single quote or double quote, because they are string. Okay. Only whenever you are using the numbers, you don't want the quotes, but whenever you are giving the value as a string, you have to add them inside the quotes. Clear? I hope it's clear. Variable names, how we can create a variable, how we can name them, how we can use them. Okay. So you can just check all these codes whichever we are creating during a Python lesson. It is added in our uh, GitHub page, Urdu IT Academy GitHub page. You can always go and check there, and you will find your Python, all the codes. Okay, that's only for today. Have a nice day. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.